Hello, my name is Lewis and I make cryptocurrency extremely easy to understand. I've made every mistake in crypto. I really have. This is a video to warn you to not make the same mistake because it's one mistake in particular that basically ruins everyone, regardless of whether you win or don't win in crypto. Like, that's how big this is. And I want to basically do it by highlighting a story. So the story is there's a man who is trying to create a map. And he's creating a map based on what he sees with his eyes. When people make these maps, they usually walk around the coast and they draw the map, and that's how maps are created, right? Before we had satellites. And so he gets to a mountain range and he goes, I can't really be bothered. I can't really be bothered to go around this whole mountain and up and down just to get the elevations and stuff. It's not really something I really want to do. I'll guess. I'll go around and then I'll guess what's on the other side, and hopefully we're right. There's another man who's doing the same thing, and he's charting his courses and he's drawing his maps, but he doesn't go the lazy way. He doesn't go round. He says, in order to chart this map the right way, I've got to walk up the mountain. I need to see if there are mountains beyond the mountains, or if there's a big crevasse, or there's something happens over that mountain that other people won't see. I need to go and see that, because if I can, just kicked you. If I can see that, I'll have the best picture possible, and I'll also understand what it takes to get where I'm going. Like, I'll truly understand the nature of the earth that I'm following. The same thing happens in crypto all the time, and what it is that I'm trying to talk about here is vision. People with a lack of vision go the long way round. They go round the mountain. They often learn their mistakes after having to make them, rather than skipping the line. And you only skip the line in things like this if you put some effort in. And so if you put some effort in, you'll get the best picture possible, you get the best map possible, and you'll also have the best vision of what is required to actually do what you're doing. Okay? And so, again, there's other ways to put this. People who go, if you're up in the clouds when you're trying to look forward, you can't really see anything. You've got to push harder. You've got to go further to see above the clouds to get the ultimate best view. And so in crypto, that looks like this, right? So we've got the bull run, or a mountain, let's say. We can call it a mountain, but it's a bull run. If you don't know what this looks like, you're never going to get there. So, for example, if your mission is to get to here, right, which obviously we're all trying to do in crypto, and sell around here, you have to know what that looks like. And usually, what that means is, for people in crypto, is that this means like a certain price of the crypto that we're talking about. That's what that would typically mean. At this price, then we sell. But if you don't know what that price is, how do you know how to get there? Like, you can't, like, you don't even know if you're here, this is your current position and that's where you want to go. If you don't know what the price is that you're leaving, you don't even know, like, you have no destination. There's no direction whatsoever. So that's why when I hear people say, I have no idea, I'll just see how it feels when I get up there, or it's something outrageous, like, I don't really have a plan, but I'll see how I feel. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Like, you can only benefit from this rise. You can only benefit from the view that mountain gives you. If you actually see the peak in the first place, like, see it. And this peak can be subjective, right? In crypto, it can, certainly. Like, if you can have a subjective view of the peak. Like, let's say, for example, XRP. Many people, and myself included, believe XRP will be of a massive value at some point in the future. But for this bull run, I do believe it maintains accordance with a speculation environment, which basically means the normal movements that we see in bull runs and bear runs. That's what I think XRP in the short term will adhere by, right? And so for me, I think that's in the region of $8 to $11 for XRP. And so my peak, if I was selling XRP, for example, my peak of my market, my mountain peak, is at that $8 to $11. Maybe this represents 11 and this represents 8, and I'll sell everywhere in between. So I've created my peak. It's subjective. But this is my peak because it gets me to my destination. But if you erase that, can I erase that and it still makes sense? Yeah, let's say you've got no peak here and you don't know what price you're selling. You have no plan. Like, it just doesn't serve you well. Like, you can't put down anything solid. And as a result, you simply won't take profits. Because if you see your mountain like this, and you see that as an infinite mountain, so imagine that mountain just goes up infinitely. If that is your subjective view of the cryptocurrency, you are actually never going to take profits. It will always, in your mind, be going up. It will always continue to go up. That's what you'll think. And of course, if you look at cryptocurrency in any market, prices don't continue to go up, right? They just don't. So you have to set your peak. And because you've set your peak, all of a sudden now you know exactly where you're going. And from this point, you'll have exactly the best view of everything else, right? And I think if you have vision, the first step of vision is actually understanding where your peak is, your subjective peak. Like, where are you going? And where are you actually going to benefit from this? How high do you need to go to create this map? Probably only that high, for example, your subjective peak. And you should be happy with that. The next part about vision is about the future. So you can only have a good vision if you have reached your peak. You can only get there once you're here, because now you've got the best view. But now what do we do when we're looking at crypto after this? That whole view is your analysis of the situation because you have arrived at the peak. If someone down here on this side of the mountain tries to look at the entire picture, they won't be able to because they're further down the mountain. So because you put the effort in, because you're someone with hard work and vision, you've reached the peak and you've got the best view. So this is going to be person B and this is going to be person A. Ideally, you want to be person A. So person B looks out at the world and they think, okay, I'm gonna make loads of money from crypto and I'm gonna do loads of good stuff and I'm gonna have a great time, and that's as detailed as it goes. So good stuff, great time, lots of money. Right? Very interesting. But this person, they look at their future, which is in that view. They now have a view of what their future can look like because they've set these levels. They now look at it and go, okay, well, I can see over here that there's another mountain range over here that I've got to tackle, and another one here, and another one here. So actually, the course I'm going to chart is just like that, right through the mountains, right through those valleys. You make a plan. And so not only has person A made a plan all the way up to benefit from the top of the mountain as best they can from the get-go, then they've also looked out and projected their route through the mountains. And this route might be, here's a hurdle where we've got sudden wealth syndrome, which many people can get when they've got money. Like, now that they can see it, they can see it from high up. They can see how to avoid sudden wealth syndrome because they just have to do a certain amount of things. Then another one might be tax, for example. And they avoid that hurdle because they've thought about it and they've got a vision. And then you've got another one which would be like business. So they know that they can navigate these things properly, create the right businesses, establish, the best investments, have a plan of action, only because they can see from that clarity of view at the top that B can't do. Look at the difference between these. Person A, which hopefully is you're thinking about sudden wealth syndrome, you're thinking about tax, thinking about business, whereas person B is guessing, right? And because of the nature of their guess, they're like, yeah, it's going to be good stuff and it's going to be good fun and I'm going to have loads of money. And none of that is conducive to actual results because it's not based in anything. It's not based on anything you can see because you're blinded by the fact that you think that's the mountain, but when in reality, A has just decided, this is the peak of the mountain for me, and it will allow me enough of a vision to see where I'm going. The trait about A is that this is the type of person who goes the extra mile in any direction. So if they're trying to make a plan, they'll go the extra mile to make it. If they're trying to make a plan for the future, they'll go the extra mile to avoid sudden wealth, to avoid the terrible tax implications, to grow the right businesses, to invest in the right things. They'll make all that plan. So I want to provide a rough outline here. I've only got a few minutes because I've got a few interviews for Blockflow to do in a second. So one plan that person A might take that person B just won't is, for example, they'll say, okay, I'll make a plan. And then from that plan, I'll execute that plan. And then from executing that plan, I might, let's say, contribute to an AMM, which pays me a yield based on all the assets that I haven't sold. And for all the assets that I have sold, they are going to be put into a property, right? And then with that property, I'm going to borrow against my property. And with that borrowed money, I'm going to buy another property, right? And so person A is making this plan. And it's very clear to see that if you're person A, you'll get to where you're going. You've got all the right steps. You're doing the right thing. The details of okay, how do we actually make a plan that works? That's one thing. How do we execute that plan? That's another thing. And there's details and systems within this system. But this is an example of how deep the typical person A will be. Person B literally cannot see in front of them. They can't see in front of them aside from the fact that they think they're going to have lots of money and they're going to have a good time. There's a real difference, and you just have to consciously become one of those people. So which one are you? That's the real question, because you won't benefit from crypto or this bull run at all if you aren't engaging that part A, the type A person that's actually thinking about these steps, and not just thinking about them, but also defining them, making them real, actually creating a plan. There's a lot to say about this, but I'm gonna leave it there. Yep, that's all. Thanks.